Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have one exercise like on whiteboard. Solve this equation x power 4 minus 3 x power 3 plus 2 x squared minus 3 x plus 1 equal 0. Before we go to the solution, please don't forget to subscribe my channel for more exciting video. Okay, now this. So if we replace 8 by 0, we get 0 power 4 minus 3 0 power 3 plus 2 multiply 0 squared and minus 3 multiply 0 plus 1. So this we get 1 equal 1. And if we replace 8 by 1, we get 1 and minus 3 plus 2 minus 3 and plus 1 equal 0. Sorry, this plus 1 is equal this. We simplify this, we get minus 2. And so this we have f of zeros and multiplies f of 1 is negative. So we know that this equation have more than one root in of the whole of x in 0 and 1. And now, what the values of the 8 of the solution of this equation? If you know how to find the values of 8, you can pause my videos and do it. If you don't know, please keep watching my videos from beginning to the end. And now, let's spend my time. We go to the solution together. Okay, to find the values of 8, we must divide both sides of this equation with x squared. So we get this divided with x squared, we get a power 4 divided by x squared minus 3x power 3 divided by x squared plus 2x squared divided by x squared minus 3x divided by x squared and plus 1 divided by x squared is equal 0. And so this we get x squared minus this, this x squared. So we get 3x and plus this we get 2 and this we get minus 3 over 8 and plus 1 over x squared equals 0. And now this, write it in nearly, we get x squared plus 1 over x squared, and this I take minus 3 out of factors, so we get minus 3 and multiplies 8 plus 1 over 8 and plus 2 equal 0. Okay, now let's see this. We have x squared plus 1 over x squared and this x plus 1 over 8. So to solve this, I let y is equal x plus 1 over 8. So we can find the values of x squared plus 1 over x squared. It gets one expression that we have y squared plus h plus 1 over h all square. So this, we use the rule that we have a plus b all square. It's equal to a squared and plus 2ab plus b squared. And so this, we get h squared and plus 2 and multiply h and multiply 1 over h plus 1 over h squared. So this, we simplify this, we get 2, and this h squared plus 2 plus 1 over h squared. And we can write it h squared plus 1 over h squared and plus 2. So it's equal h squared plus 1 over h squared and plus 2. And now this, I change 2 from the right hand side to the left hand side. So we get y squared and minus 2 equal h squared plus 1 over h squared. So the h squared plus 1 over h squared, we replace it by y squared minus 2. So we get y squared minus 2 and minus 3y and plus 2 is equal 0. And this, we can cancel this. We get y squared minus 3y is equal 0. And this, we take y out of factor. And so we get y and multiply y minus 3. We know that we have 2 factors is equal 0. We get 1 factor is equal 0 and 1 factor is equal 0. And so this, we get y is equal 0 and y minus 3 is equal 0. So we can find the values of y is equal 3. And now this, we know that y is equal 0. If y is equal 0, get this y is equal h plus 1 over h. So we get h plus 1 over h is equal 0. And now this, we multiply both sides of this equation with h. So we get h squared and plus 1 is equal 0. And now we get the values of h. And we get h squared equal minus 1. So h is equal plus and minus I. And now this y is equal 3. And so we get y is equal 3 if y is equal 3. So we get this h plus 1 over h equals 3. And now this, we multiply both sides of this equation with h. So we get h squared plus 1 equal 3h. And now we change 3h from the right hand side to the left hand side. So we get h squared and minus 3h and plus 1 is equal 0. And now this, we can use the rule that we have a h squared and plus bh and plus c is equal 0. We get h equal minus b plus or minus square root b squared and minus 4 multiply a and multiply c divided by 2a. And so this, the values of a is equal 1, the values of b is equal minus 3, and the value of c is equal 1. So we replace in this rule, so we get h is equal minus b. So this minus and this minus, we get plus. So we get 3 plus or minus square root b square. This minus 3 squares, we get 9. And this minus 4 and multiply 1 and multiply 1. So we get 4 and divide by 2 and multiply a. A is equal 1. So we get 2. Okay, now this 9 divided by 4 is equal 3 plus and minus square root 5 and divide by 2. Okay, now we get the values of 8 is thus 8 is equal plus or minus I, and 8 is equal 3 plus or minus square root 5 divided by 2 as our solution. Okay, thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please don't forget to subscribe my channel for more exciting videos. Goodbye.